All right, hi guys, welcome back. And today's video is going to be the things that you need to know about drinking alcohol with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. So this video is going to be based upon this Reddit question on my thread. What is the safest way of having a little bit of alcohol? I've only had one shot one time since diagnosed, and I had a little bit of a drink with sugar to prevent it from dropping my sugar too much. It wasn't enjoyable while worrying about my sugar. Every once in a while, I'd like to have a couple of shots. It's well worth consulting with your physician about some of these things because certain medications cannot be mixed with alcohol. So if your doctor said no to alcohol, it's probably for a good reason. No doctor is going to tell you how to drink alcohol. And if they do, I'm kind of scared. You obviously know it's bad, but in my opinion, as a non-physician, I'm not going to sit here and berate you and tell you you have to be abstinent the rest of your life because I drink. You have to live, and a goal of mine is to make your diagnosis easier on you. So I'm just giving the education of how to approach this as a diabetic. Okay, so here's the most common reasons that your doctor may have told you to not drink alcohol at all. If you have some type of liver issue, chronic alcoholism, or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, if you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol, alcohol obviously doesn't help that, and they'd be a pretty bad doctor to be like, hey, here's something that's going to raise your blood pressure and your triglyceride count, even though you already have bad levels of that. There's possibly medications that you're taking that are non-diabetic that have adverse reactions to alcohol. You might have a history of pancreatitis, or if you just have poor diabetic control, it's not advisable to even participate in moderate alcohol consumption. If you're all clear and don't have any of those previous issues, then let's dive in to drinking. And I'm going to begin with the most credible statement of all. This is a statement from Johns Hopkins, literally about consuming alcohol as a diabetic. So, moderate alcohol consumption generally does not affect your blood glucose levels if your diabetes is under control. The biggest things that you need to know as a diabetic that, first off, yes, you are allowed to drink. We saw that from Johns Hopkins. You are allowed to participate in a round of shots. But there is a taboo association with diabetes and alcohol for two reasons. One, the risk of hypoglycemia, and two, hidden calories. Most people think alcohol is going to raise their blood sugar because they think it has carbs, but it doesn't. You guys can feel free to skip this little mini lesson if you'd like, but I always like explaining why something happens rather than just telling you what to do. Normally, to prevent us from getting hypoglycemia when we wake up, when we're working out, when we're fasting, our liver breaks down stored glucose, aka glycogen, to have glucose be released in our bloodstream to raise up our blood sugar. However, when we drink alcohol, our liver has a bit bigger issues to worry about. So, when I was first learning about the metabolism and breakdown of alcohol, I was kind of scared. My professor simplified being drunk as the side effects of your body breaking down poison. Considering that alcohol technically is a poison that can cause death if it's not getting rid of, it makes sense why our body's first priority is going to say, get this out of my body. The process of our body breaking down alcohol to something that can be excreted and removed from the body can only happen in the liver. It's going to focus on keeping you alive and not poisoned rather than releasing sugar into your bloodstream. This is why one of the biggest side effects of drinking with diabetes is hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is a risk, not a guarantee. And I'm just letting you guys know these things so you are better prepared if hypoglycemia is to happen. What I would personally recommend is just knowing. Watch your own trends. Maybe you don't go low from alcohol. Maybe take your blood glucose a little bit before, take it after, but just be aware that, especially if I did not eat and I'm drinking on an empty stomach and I'm just drinking spirits or something without like any soda, just be aware of the fact that lows can happen. You're especially at risk if you take a sulfonylurea. So Amaryl, glimepiride, glyburide, glipizide, all of those things as well, because those drugs, they're extremely effective at lowering your blood sugar, but a little too much. So they don't know when you've gone too far past low. So I'm not a diabetic, I only work with them, but here's advice literally from diabetics' mouths on Reddit. And it's basically along the line of, if you get low when you drink, just eat a little bit. It's literally just being aware. This is from Johns Hopkins Diabetic Education pamphlet, and it literally just says, don't binge drink and don't drink on an empty stomach. Even further advice from a fancy research article, don't drink on an empty stomach, and especially if you're taking a sulfonylurea. So literally you heard from Johns Hopkins, you are allowed to drink. Just be cautious if you're taking something like glipizide if you haven't eaten all day. I just wanted to hop in here because I didn't think I mentioned this, but if the main concern is that you will go low during drinking and that's what's preventing you from having a good time, I just wanted to remind you that the horrible things that are associated with lows usually happen when someone's asleep and they can't help themselves. If you know what your glucose usually does when you drink, and if you have your glucometer, if you're around food, and if you're awake, you'll be prepared if anything were to happen. And if you find yourself getting low, just make adjustments, aka like adding carbs to your drink. Other than the hypoglycemic risk, a big reason why diabetics can't drink is because of all the hidden calories associated with alcohol. So alcohol has a lot of sneaky calories, and even if you make good drink choices, it usually leads to drunken pizza or drunken cookery. Some drinks are loaded with carbs, and some have zero. As we already know, losing weight is one of the best things you can do for your diabetes. So, a doctor would be kind of contradictive if he is encouraging and promoting a behavior that leads to hypertension, high cholesterol, and usually weight gain. And this is why I told you guys that hypoglycemia is a maybe risk, something that might happen. Because more often than not, I see people get extremely hyperglycemic because they're so scared about getting hypoglycemia, they usually do not eat too well. That being said, we're all human, and the one thing that I want with every single patient is to not feel like their whole life is ran by diabetes, counting carbs, everything in their head. They're healthy, cool choices to make that help both your diabetes and your mental health out a little bit. It's just knowing, hey, my favorite cocktail has over 500 calories in it. Maybe I should just limit it to one. A lot of mixed drinks contain creams or fruit puree or juices and syrup that have just a lot of calories loaded into it and a lot of sneaky carbs. I think a very easy way to approach a night of drinking is a spirit and a diet drink. So you can use lower calorie sodas. To flavor things, you can add lemon juice or lime juice or add your own mixer, which is literally what I do. Like this right here is literally a Skittles flavored drink mixer, and it's zero sugar, 0 calories, and just makes my drinks taste amazing. A lot of cocktails will have a skinny option. Like I'm pretty sure at Outback they have skinny margaritas or skinny mojitos. In a mojito, you can ask them to skip the syrup or just do a little less. And then if you still really do want your pina colada and a mudslide, just try to eat a little bit healthier the day before. Losing weight and maintaining your weight is all about calories in, calories out. So if you eat a little less in the day, maybe you can have that little splurge of whatever you want later. All right, guys, it's pretty simple. There's the summary. You're allowed to drink as a diabetic unless your doctor strictly told you otherwise, because there might actually be some reasons why you shouldn't drink. Just understand that there is a slight risk of hypoglycemia, especially if you're taking something like glipizide or another sulfonylurea, and if you haven't eaten all day. Also, just be aware of the hidden calories and carbs that are in it, and that you may potentially spike and may potentially have a drunken cookery night. So I hope I answered your question, dear Reddit user. And if anyone has questions, please comment or just DM me on Reddit. I'm here to help you guys, and I love you guys, and you guys are awesome, and diabetes shouldn't take over your life. With proper education, these things will come second nature, and you will barely even have to think about these things while managing your diabetes very, very well. So I hope you guys had a great Easter.